The story of Moses is a cornerstone of biblical history and one of the most compelling narratives of faith, resilience, and divine purpose. It chronicles the liberation of the Israelites from centuries of Egyptian slavery, their arduous journey through the wilderness, and their eventual preparation to enter the Promised Land. This epic saga, rich in drama and spiritual significance, offers timeless lessons about leadership, faith, and the transformative power of hope. Moses' extraordinary journey begins in the shadows of oppression during a perilous time for the Hebrew people in Egypt. The Israelites, descendants of Jacob, had flourished in Egypt for generations, but as their numbers grew, they became a perceived threat to Pharaoh. In a bid to suppress them, Pharaoh enslaved the Israelites, subjecting them to brutal labor and harsh conditions. Eventually, he issued a chilling decree: all male Hebrew infants were to be killed at birth. In this time of despair, Moses' mother, Jochebed, acted with remarkable courage. She placed her infant son in a basket made of reeds, waterproofed it with tar, and set it adrift on the Nile River, entrusting his life to divine protection. Her hope was miraculously rewarded when Pharaoh's daughter discovered the basket and, moved by compassion, adopted the child as her own. Thus, Moses was raised in the opulence of the royal palace, a Hebrew child in an Egyptian court, embodying the tension between two worlds. Despite his upbringing in Pharaoh's household, Moses could not ignore the suffering of his people. His sense of justice and identity as a Hebrew emerged powerfully when he witnessed an Egyptian taskmaster brutally beating a Hebrew slave. Overcome by anger, Moses intervened, striking and killing the Egyptian. Realizing that his act of defiance was known, Moses fled Egypt to escape Pharaoh's wrath. He sought refuge in the land of Midian, where he began a new life. He married Zipporah, the daughter of a Midianite priest named Jethro, and became a shepherd, tending flocks in the wilderness. For years, Moses lived a quiet, unassuming life, far removed from the grandeur of Egypt. Yet it was in this exile that his true calling would emerge. One fateful day, while tending his sheep near Mount Horeb, Moses encountered the divine in a form both awe-inspiring and mysterious, a bush that burned but was not consumed by fire. Drawn to this phenomenon, Moses approached, only to hear the voice of God calling his name. God revealed a profound mission. Moses was to return to Egypt and lead the Israelites out of bondage. Overwhelmed with self-doubt, Moses hesitated. He protested his inadequacies, citing his lack of eloquence and questioning why he, of all people, had been chosen. But God reassured him, promising divine support and sending his brother Aaron as a spokesman. Strengthened by this assurance, Moses accepted his calling and embarked on the journey back to Egypt. Upon his return, Moses boldly confronted Pharaoh with the demand, "Let my people go." Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he refused, setting the stage for a dramatic showdown between divine power and earthly defiance. To compel Pharaoh to relent, God unleashed a series of 10 plagues upon Egypt, each demonstrating his power and sovereignty. These included turning the Nile into blood, infestations of frogs, lice, and locusts, painful boils afflicting both humans and animals, and a crippling darkness that blanketed the land. Each plague targeted the Egyptians' way of life and their pantheon of gods, showing the futility of their idols. The final and most devastating plague was the death of the firstborn in every Egyptian household, including Pharaoh's own son. This ultimate blow broke Pharaoh's resistance, and he finally allowed the Israelites to leave. The Israelites' departure was marked by the institution of the Passover, a sacred observance commemorating their deliverance. They marked their doorposts with the blood of a lamb, signifying their faith and obedience as the angel of death passed over their homes. This event would become a cornerstone of Jewish identity and a reminder of God's protection and power. However, Pharaoh's change of heart was short-lived. He pursued the Israelites with his army, leading to one of the most iconic moments in biblical history, the parting of the Red Sea. Trapped between the sea and Pharaoh's advancing forces, the Israelites despaired. But Moses, acting on God's command, stretched out his staff and the waters miraculously divided, creating a dry path for the Israelites to cross. When Pharaoh's army followed, the waters returned, swallowing the chariots and soldiers, securing the Israelites' escape and demonstrating God's ultimate authority. The Exodus was only the beginning of a transformative journey. As they traversed the wilderness, the Israelites faced trials that tested their faith and unity. They encountered hunger and thirst, which were met with divine provision. Manna from heaven, quail for meat, and water from a rock. These miracles underscored God's presence and care for his people, but they also highlighted the Israelites' struggles to trust and remain faithful. At Mount Sinai, Moses ascended the mountain to meet with God and receive the Ten Commandments, a covenant that would define the moral and spiritual framework for the Israelite community. This was a turning point, establishing the Israelites not merely as freed slaves, but as a people with a divine purpose and identity. However, during Moses' extended time on the mountain, the Israelites succumbed to fear and impatience. Believing Moses had abandoned them, they convinced Aaron to create a golden calf as an object of worship, violating the covenant they had just entered. This act of idolatry angered God, who threatened to destroy the people. Moses interceded on their behalf, pleading for mercy. When he descended the mountain and saw the Israelites worshiping the false god, he was overcome with anger. In a dramatic act, he shattered the stone tablets, symbolizing the broken covenant. Moses destroyed the golden calf, called for repentance, and once again ascended the mountain to plead for his people. In an extraordinary act of grace, God renewed the covenant and provided Moses with a new set of tablets. The journey continued, marked by challenges, rebellions, and moments of divine revelation. The Israelites struggled with the transition from slavery to freedom, grappling with the responsibilities of being God's chosen people. Despite their shortcomings, Moses remained steadfast, mediating between God and the people, guiding them with patience, wisdom, and faith. Moses himself would not enter the Promised Land, a poignant reminder of the sacrifices of leadership and the weight of divine justice. Yet his legacy endured. He transformed a group of oppressed slaves into a nation with laws, governance, and a covenantal relationship with God. His story symbolizes hope, resilience, and the belief that liberation, both physical and spiritual, is possible even in the face of overwhelming odds. The narrative of Exodus transcends its historical and religious roots, resonating with universal themes of justice, freedom, and spiritual growth. It is a testament to the power of faith to overcome adversity, the importance of leadership born from humility, and the enduring truth that great change often requires profound courage. For generations, the story of Moses has inspired people across cultures, reminding us that no matter how daunting the challenge, the pursuit of freedom and purpose is always worth undertaking.